So what I'm suggesting is that instead of working it from that side, instead of working it from the dream side, right? Start working it from the other side. Start being what you are. You know, if the reality of it is, and if the truth is that you've always been the awareness, and you can't deny that, look right now, because what you are being what you are right now, right? How do I know? How do you know? Is awareness there? Yeah, if awareness is there, that's you. That's you. It's always there. It's never not there, right? And it's absolutely stable. It never changes. You know, this is one of the reasons why, Richard Lang, one of my friends who is the person who inherited Douglas Harding's work, is a very valuable and important teacher, because he has experiments that you can do that will allow you to literally experience being that awareness that never moves, right? And so I highly recommend that you look into the headless way, right? It can be very powerful. It's a good other angle to use to deal with these things. So, and that is allowing you to realize and experience being your true self, being that awareness, right? Experience being that awareness. So let's practice. What I'm recommending to you is practice being the awareness, instead of continuing to practice being the personality trying to become the awareness. That's a much better way to operate here, right? And it's my perception, it's my vision that if you do that, if you practice from the awareness and you become more and more familiar with what that awareness is like, so you know you're being it when you're being it, right? Because that awareness is always available. It never moves, never changes, right? Is always satisfied, is always happy, it's always at peace, right? Now, if you want to know if that's true, then spend some time as that. Spend some time. When you're practicing meditation and you have practiced consistently long enough that you spend more time as the awareness than you do in your head, spend more time as the awareness than you do in the thought process, or at least comparatively more time, well, that means that you're beginning to have a sense of what it's like to be you. There are moments, maybe longer than moments, when you feel this sense of relief, when you feel this clarity, when you feel this sense of peace. Okay, so that's the experience that you're having in meditation. You can have that more often by paying attention to the truth, by paying attention to what you are. So as you go through the day, just like in meditation, when you're practicing, experiencing your true nature, because that's what you're doing in meditation, you can wake up in the morning and notice, okay, awareness is here. Now, this awareness that's here, before I get involved with the world, right? This awareness that's here, let me just spend some time with it. Let me just be aware of the awareness and recognize that this is what I actually am. Let me be aware of it and notice that it is calm. Let me be aware of it and notice that it is clear, it sees clearly. Let me be aware of it and notice that it is happy. Doesn't need anything, doesn't want anything, it's not going anywhere. It doesn't exist in time, it's always in the present moment. Okay, so I'm familiarizing myself with it, right? And now I go into my day. Well, inevitably, as I go into my day, I have to be the personality. The awareness can't be in the world and live your life. It has no form. But it can inform the form. It can inform who you're being. So you get settled like that as the awareness, and then you get involved with the world, right? Knowing that, okay, now I'm shifting into being the personality. This is a program that's antiquated. This is a conditioned program, right, that needs revision. It needs to get hacked. It needs to change because it's not serving me. The personality is not serving me. It's easily upset. It's totally unstable. It's based primarily on the past, okay? But now, since I've become familiar with my true nature, I can now keep remembering myself. That's what Gurdjieff called it, remembering yourself. I can now start remembering myself while I'm in the world. And although I'm identified with being the personality, so I'm going through the craziness of the personality, right? But I remember the truth of who I am, and therefore the craziness doesn't really bother me. I now see myself as a clown instead of somebody that's really destroying my life. That's a big difference, right? You can have a sense of humor about your personality instead of have it murdering you, right? Have it murdering your life. So this is psychotherapeutic. This is free psychotherapy. It really is. And not only will I say that it's free psychotherapy, but what I will say is it's probably more actually psychotherapy than a lot of the psychotherapy that people are paying a lot of money for. Yeah. Why? Because this psychotherapy doesn't limit what we're dealing with to the personality. No. This psychotherapy expands the process that we're doing as far as psychotherapy is concerned to include the possibility of who you are, not the probability of who you are, right? So you know that old thing, I don't know how many of you remember, there used to be a thing that a lot of people who were doing consciousness training and teaching people the dynamics of how to be powerful in the world, they used to use this thing called the nine dot challenge. You never saw that? Well, it's 9 dots, right, that make a box, right? 9 dots. And then the challenge is, can you use 4 straight lines that touch each other, right, and connect all the dots, okay? So you can look it up, you can Google it, it's a famous thing, right? That's where that's where the saying, think outside the box came from. Because the 9 dots are in a box, right? And so the brain sees the box, right? It sees the form of the box. And so you start, and it'll tell, okay, you can do this. And you start doing it, you can't do it. You can't do it in the box. But your brain sees the box, it doesn't realize that what is included is all the space around the box, not just the box. So the solution to it involves going way out of the box to a space and way down out of the box, and you can actually connect all the dots that way and have all the lines touch. So that's thinking outside of the box. Now, one of the things that I said about thinking outside of the box is that, and this is kind of the newest version of that type of thing, right? That the newest version of thinking outside of the box, and this came from me, somebody else probably already said it too, but the box that you're thinking outside of is thinking. The box is thinking. Thinking is that which limits, what you see as possible, isn't it? Thinking is what limits what you see as possible. And so when you stop believing in thinking as the primary way to function, and you start opening yourself up to the possibility of awareness is the source of everything. Awareness is the possibility. Awareness doesn't have limitations. And within awareness is all possible possibilities. Within awareness is all possible data, everything. Einstein said that's where the theory of relativity came from, that he didn't come up with it. He just made himself available and it downloaded into his brain. So that's really beneficial. So this is psychotherapeutic and maybe even more powerful than psychotherapy in the conventional sense because it doesn't limit itself to the personality. So right now, non-dual psychotherapy is a brand new thing in the world, right? That's the psychotherapy that's not limited by just dealing with the personality. And you can learn about the truth, you can learn about your true nature, and you can begin to practice being that instead of what you thought you were. You can start the process of reconditioning your brain, right? Now, how did that brain get conditioned in the beginning, right? Well, it got conditioned by your being given a name, being told that's your body, being told you're this person with this name. And then you go to school, right? And you learn how to be a civilized person, and you learn how to obey authority, right? And you learn the game that we're all going to play here, the game of life, which is called make money. Make money and be famous, or something like that, that we all get involved with, right? And so that's the process. And so here you are. One of my teachers used to say, this is how you got thrown. Used to say, this is how you got thrown. What did he mean by that? It's like, a potter throws, right? And when they throw, they have clay. Like you were the clay when you were a baby, and you got thrown. You got shaped into a particular form like a potter does, right? So this is how you got thrown. This is how you turned out, right? You're the conditioned version of reality. You're the pot that got made out of the clay, like that, right? So now you find out, oh, wait a minute. There's a whole nother possibility. No wonder my life wasn't going so well. There's a whole nother possibility here called being myself, called understanding the truth, called being the awareness that is my fundamental and essential nature. That's a whole different possibility. So that possibility has within it the potential for me to be happy, peaceful, calm, clear-minded, effective. Much better. No wonder things didn't work in this limited version of myself. Now, with that possibility, in order for that possibility to be realized, right, you're going to have to go back to school. Back to kindergarten, right? Back to kindergarten again. Start all over. You're going to have to, and it's going to be harder than school was, because when you went to school, you were just dumb, and then you were just you didn't know much, right? So you just took it all in, right? But now you've got all that there, and now you have this new possibility of who you are that promises to offer you everything that you really want, right? But in order to realize that, you're going to have to hack this. You're going to have to hack your brain. You're going to have to hack the personality. Well, what does that mean? It means that you're going to have to first get that this is really you, like be convinced that it's really you, so that's not a question anymore, and then start practicing experiencing yourself as this rather than this. Well, how do you do that? Because this is running the show. That program is running the show, right? That's what's causing the thoughts you're thinking. It's causing everything else that's happening, right? So what you have to do is start practicing being this, watching that, so you can see when that's off the rails, which is a lot of the time, okay? And whenever it's off the rails, right, you start to not follow that program and start following the clear, open eyes, the clear, awake state that's actually here, actually seeing things in real time. You can actually be in life alive and awake, seeing things in real time and responding. Gotta be much more effective than running a program, right? Because this program is static. That's why you have to have updates. You ever notice on your computer, and you know, if you have an Apple Watch or a computer, right, there's updates all the time, updates, right? So this is a major update, right? This is a major update. This is a complete revision of the mental processes that go on in your brain, right? So you have to be patient, diligent, you have to practice meditation, and you have to study the teachings. All of that is the material that you're now reconditioning your brain with. And as you succeed in reconditioning the brain, which involves a practice, which involves learning things, which involves repetition, just like when you were a kid, right? Repetition. So that's why if you come to class or you continue to watch the videos, if you're a YouTube person, right? You will hear me repeat myself. You will hear me say the same things in many different ways, right? But every time you come back and practice meditation, and every time you come to the class, right, it's another opportunity for you to revisit reality, to revisit who you actually are, to keep learning more details about it, to be motivated, to be inspired, to be stimulated. You know, the word inspire means to breathe life into. Inspiration, inspire means to breathe life into. So part of what I'm interested in is inspiring you and motivating you to take the opportunity that your life is, to take the opportunity that these practices and teachings offer you, so you can come out of the craziness, come out of the suffering, come out of the misery, wake up, be sane, be happy, right? Be peaceful, and enjoy this experience. It's a very temporary experience. If you're as old as I am, you have no doubt about that, right? This is a very temporary experience. You don't have time to wait to get your shit together. Really, you can't depend on failings, learning from your failures, right? You can't, if you're like me, right, you learned about life in many ways the hard way. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You can go right to being clear-minded. You can go right to seeing what the possibilities are and start living your life accordingly. And guess what? Then your life will work. And then you'll be happy. That's what's available. And it's free. It's free. You don't have to pay for it because you are it. It's not like you're going to get it. You are it. All you're going to do is learn about who you are. And when you're who you are naturally, living your life that way, fulfillment. You've fulfilled the potential of a human life. You fulfilled your life. You won the prize. That's what's available to everybody. So I pretty much used all the time, but I wanted to make that clear to people, especially now that there's some new people listening to these talks on YouTube. I want you to keep coming back and understand the purpose of keep coming back. Keep listening, keep deepening, keep practicing. And after a certain period of time, you'll start getting the fruit. The fruit will bear on the tree, and you can start to enjoy the fruit, right, in your life. Okay, that's it.